Hey everyone, welcome to A Loop Through a Loop. I'm Tara. We've made it to the end of May. I'm going to go through what I've been working on and what I've been up to for this month. So let's get into it. I had been knitting quite voraciously the last couple of months, and this month did a real nice slowdown. We can't sprint forever, and so it was just time for me to kind of just stop, take a break. I could feel it in my arms. My body was just saying it's time to put the needles down for a little bit and take a break before you just lose your mojo. So I never lost my mojo for the month of May, but I had been knitting at such a pace that I knew I couldn't keep it up. And I kind of just had to parent myself and say, no, you're going to put the needles down and work on some other stuff. And so I'll kind of dabble a little bit, just kind of what I've been doing. So I only have one finished object, and it is what I'm wearing right now. This is the Floral mini shawl designed by Florence Sperling, and this is a test knit. It is going to come out very soon, and I really enjoyed making this. So I'll take it off. Of course, with the word mini in the title, it is a smaller shawl. The design is based on a botanical motif, and it is all intarsia. So this is the first time I've ever done intarsia, and I didn't mind it. It took me a while to find my groove with it. I started it by thinking, oh, I can do it by keeping my yarn in cakes and pulling from two different ends. And then it got to the point where I got so tangled up that I was like, at one point, I just cut everything off, and I was like, start fresh. I'll weave in the extra ends. And so after that, I put it to the side nicely, went to bed, woke up the next morning and said, okay, we're gonna do butterflies instead. So that way, whenever I have to cross the colors together, the butterflies can go around each other and it's less knots. And the great thing about it being a botanical motif is because the shapes are abstract. It's forgiving if you're one or two stitches off. It doesn't matter because it all still works. That happened to me a couple of times, and I debated about whether or not to go back and make it accurate as can be to the pattern. But then I thought, but isn't that kind of like the beauty of it, to be like, I was one or two stitches off on this row with this color, but I just went ahead and kind of fudged it a little bit, and it still turned out just fine, and nobody would ever know the difference. So that was really great. It's in stockinette. It has a garter border, and I knit this only facing the front side. So I would knit going this way, and then I would knit backwards the next row. And I've done that often enough that that's just really intuitive and easy for me to just kind of like a typewriter, work my way across and then go back, work my way across and go back. And to work on the wrong side of something almost feels less intuitive at this point. Okay, so update. I have a live audience, and if they get a little fussy, we have some Cheerios. So if you hear a little one, it's my buddy. Yeah. He's got breakfast all over his face. Okay, so back to the Floral mini shawl. I have several of Florence's patterns already purchased, but I just had never done them because when I look at them, I'm just like, I don't know that I'm on that level. And I just decided when I saw she put this test call out, it was around my bedtime, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna send an email and say, I'm not sure what information you would like to know. Here's my Instagram and Ravelry stuff, and I would love to test this for you. And then I just went to bed. I never thought in a million years that I would be selected. So when I woke up the next morning, there was an email with the pattern and everything, and I just thought, wow. Holy cow. I immediately just got to work. Her sample is done in Moondrake, but I went ahead and just did a stash dive, looked through what I had. And so I had the pink is, God, I'm gonna have to, the pink is dry plaster, and the orange, wherever it is, the orange that's in here is another Holst Garn, super soft color like the dried plaster, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. And then the aqua color is Candy Shop Yarns. And the variegated color is from Knitted Wit, and I believe it's pronounced Naiad. And it was one that I purchased at our LYS, and it was one of those where I was like, oh my gosh, I just love this color. They only had one skein of it, so I thought, okay, I'll make socks with it. Pivot, didn't make any socks with it, but now I have this cool shawl. And it was one of those that when I'm not particularly drawn to variegated yarns, but when I started working with this, it did kind of give me like butterfly feelings. And I thought, oh, this is just perfect. So I think I ended up spending about 2 weeks to work on this, which I think is a pretty it's a pretty decent amount of time. I got the first half of it done really fast. And then I had to sit it down for some reason. I can't remember what it was. But then once I kind of got through that middle hump of, you start small and you increase, and then you decrease. Once I got through that middle hump of the midway of the project, once I got through with that, I finished it pretty quickly. And I also realized that I liked using the butterflies. But I think that's different for everybody. I need to get the final amounts of, yes, I need to get the final amounts of how much yarn I used. It doesn't take much because the Holst Garn colors that I used were not from full skeins, and those are 50-gram cakes. So, it's a mini shawl. It looks so good. I love it. When I wore it to church, I just had a white button down, and then I just threw it over my shoulders, and it was super comfy. Like, it was just enough to give a little bit of warmth to my back. I wondered if I would add an I-cord border around it, but I don't think I'm going to. I thought I'll sit on it and wait. And I think I like it just the way it is. So this is the only thing I finished this month. This is it. This is the only thing. Let's look at my project bags. And to be honest, there are a couple that I don't remember what's inside of them. So I just thought we would play a little game of what's in my bag. Now, I know these first two bags, I know what's inside of them. So I know that inside my pink bag is my sarong sweater by Ego Knit. And I haven't really made much progress. I think I've knit maybe three rounds on it, and that's it. It's still not much has been made, but that does not mean that it's not something that I'm enjoying. I think I mentioned this before, it's one of those that I do enjoy. So it's like I'm subconsciously trying to stretch it out to make it last longer. And then in my green and pink bag is my bright sweater, and I don't remember how far along I was in this the last time we chit-chatted, but I'm here now. So what I did is I worked one full skein of yarn, and when I reached the end of that yarn is when I decided to work on the sleeves. So I'm going to have about I'm gonna knit the sleeves. For me, I think I wanna do 8 inches straight, I-cord bind off, or just knit 3 rows of stockinette so it can curl, because that's what I did on the neckline. That's probably what I'll end up doing here. Knit 8 inches, 3 rows of stockinette, cast off loosely, do my second sleeve, and then try to figure out what I want to do for the body. I'm kind of wondering if it's going to be more of like a tunic with a mock neck kind of a thing. I don't know. This is another one. I have knit on the sleeve here and there, but nothing like mind-blowing. And let's see what's in this. I decided I wanted to take the leftovers from my Floral mini cowl, and I thought, what am I going to do with this? I tried to think, okay, let me make some socks with the Candy Shop aqua color and my Knitted Wit variegated color, because there's a dress by Marchesa from 2016 that's gorgeous. It's floral at the top, and it has flowers that are like these kinds of colors, and then it fades into this beautiful aqua chiffon flowy, like the dress is gorgeous. And I thought, wonder if I could make socks to kind of look like that. And I tried several hours for several days to try to figure out how to make that work, and I couldn't really find anything that I liked, and I was just like, forget it. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try a ranunculus again. Now, I have knit the ranunculus 3 times. I have liked it none of the times. I feel very much in the minority, which is okay, it's fine. I had finally just succumbed that yes, I enjoyed knitting it, but I just didn't like the final thing on me. But then I thought, well, maybe it's just because I just didn't have the right kind of yarns. So I've started with my aqua color. I did a 1x1 color work because I think everyone has seen this on the project page. There's this beautiful woman that has it's kind of like a beigey sand color at the top, and she does 1x1 color work into this hot pink. And I thought, well, what if I could kind of take that idea and make it work for this? Now, is this gonna work for this? I don't know. I'm just playing. I also had some of this pink from Candy Shop yarns that I love this pink. So I thought, I don't know. At this point, this is I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing. It might completely not work out at all, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. So I've done all of the fun texture work at the top. I've done some 1x1 color work. I did a little bit of band of just the variegated, and then I'm doing some 1x1 color work with the pink because I just don't have much left of the colors. So I'm just gonna see where that takes me. I'm gonna see where it takes me. And you know what, I might end up just loving it. And if I don't, then I just take it out and then I use the yarn and make something else. I'm using size 9 needles to knit this. And what's funny is that on both the ranunculus and the bright sweater, I thought I'm gonna go for a deeper yoke. They're not deep. They're not deep. It's just my regular yoke depth. Joke's on me. And then I don't know what's in, I have no idea what's in here. Oh, it's just all my leftovers. This is the bag I used for my Floral mini. So this is where I need to do the math and figure out how much yarn I have left over. Okay, well that's handy because I was looking for those. This is why we should check our bags. And then my last bag, I know what's in here. I've been saving this, but in here is some goodness. And there are more colors inside of here, but I'm going to use the Knit Picks palette to knit my academic vest. And I already have a color scheme that I picked out via an inspiration picture from Pinterest, because that's just what is really helpful to me, is to take something that I know I really enjoy and pull colors from that. And then what I did to figure out how I want to place the colors in the color work is I went on Stitch Fiddle, which I've used before. I love Stitch Fiddle. And it is free, but if you pay, I think it's $30 a year, then you can get kind of like all of like the pro stuff with it. So when I went to do a color chart for the academic vest, I put in that I was doing color work and it asked me what yarn I was using. So I put in that I was using Knit Picks palette, and then they had the entire Knit Picks palette colors already in their system. So all I had to do was go through and choose out the right colors. So now my chart that I created on Stitch Fiddle matches the colors of yarn that I have. So I don't have to get all confused whenever I start that. I'm really excited. I'm itching to cast that on, but I just don't want to start something until I finish at least one thing. So when I finish the bright sweater is probably when I'll go ahead and cast on the academic vest. Do you need more Cheerios? There you go. I haven't done much knitting. I've done a lot of planning and reflecting and thinking, and that's taken up just most of the time. Yes. And like I said, because I had been knitting, have some more Cheerios. Because I had been knitting so much the past couple of months, my body was just like, lay off of it for a little bit. I could feel that like my hyper focus obsession with getting the knitting done was starting to get disordered. It started to feel like work in so much as like, oh, I need to sit down, I need to get this done, I need to get this done. And that's kind of the opposite of what it should be if it's a hobby. So I had to tell myself, put it away. My shoulder was really hurting. There were sharp pains, and I knew I needed to put it down at least for a couple of days. And basically that just led to me taking a rest from knitting for like a week and a half or so. And it's been really nice. I've been able to work on some other stuff. So like I sewed a pair of pants that I've really enjoyed, and I have some other projects. I'm just going to share these really quick because they're not knitting related and I don't want to completely bore you with this, but I have these pair of overalls that I've had for years and years. They were $20 at the JCPenney's and I love them and I didn't want to get rid of them, but the hole in the knee had gotten so bad that it was starting to split and meet up with the hole that was up my leg, and it was just, I was like, this is too much of distress for me. I bought these with the holes, okay? I did. I spent $20 to get the holes on my overalls. So what I did is I just took some fabric and put it behind the holes and then some embroidery floss to stitch around it. And then I still put the hole in my knee back, but I don't know. The good news is that I can just take it all out if I don't like it. And I just put on some iron-on patches and then I stitched around those so that they'll stay on there. But the good news is that they're really easy to take off because I did have some patches inside my pockets, like right here above the pocket. And then I decided I didn't like it. So I undid all of my stitching and then just ripped off the patches, which that felt really nice. And then I just have some fun patches on the bib. So, okay, for our last name, I saw this Barbie and I was like, yep, I'm gonna have to have that. The girls love that. They think that's just so cute. They're like, oh my gosh, mommy, you have Barbie on your overalls. I was like, yep, sure do. And then on the back, I just decided to have a little fun. I have a water-soluble marker that I use whenever I'm sewing, and I thought, well, what if I just draw on it and then I can stitch over it, just kind of go for it. So on the back, I just decided to have a little fun with it. So I've got the story of the gospel. I've got part of, a verse. I have a dandelion, which reminds me of my grandmother. And then on this pocket, just really small, it's my husband and I, and then the initials of the 4 kids. On the other pocket is a hexagon wreath with 6, because there's 6 of us. And then I tried to make like a freesia, because that's our wedding flower, and it's also the flower that's mentioned in our all-time favorite movie. So I don't know. Does it look like freesia? I'm gonna say, yep, sure does. I mean, at least it looks like a flower. And then on the bottoms of the legs, like I put, this is kind of hard to hold up, so apologies. I put breathe, and then just very faintly, I don't know if you can see that so much, it's kind of hard to see. I on purpose chose a blue thread that kind of blended in with the blue of the denim, but it is kind of it's the Bible verse that I would probably say is one of my life verses, that they call it. And then at the bottom, hello little one, because little kids are walking around by your feet. And I thought, well, while William's toddling around, he'd say, hello little one. I just thought that was cute. That could be completely silly, but on the other leg, I have just some lyrics to one of my favorite songs. So there you go. And then I washed it in the gentle cycle, dried it, and it looks like the water-soluble marker disappeared. And so then then it all just looks so like neat and clean. And eventually with time, I can always add more things, take things off. That's kind of what I like about it. So I'm thinking, like, instead of getting a tattoo, I would just put things on my clothes. I'm kind of digging on that. So then my next idea is, I have a pattern. I love a good button-down shirt. And I want to make, I have this blue fabric. It's a shirting fabric that I just got at Joann's. And I thought, I want to embroider something on the back of this shirt. So what I did last night is I just cut out the pattern piece for the back of the shirt. And so before I cut anything else out or sew the shirt together, I'm going to go ahead and embroider on it what I want to embroider. So this is what I'm currently working on, and I just started. So I'm just going to keep it really simple. I don't want it super fussy. So the reason that I'm picking this up, I let my needles rest, and I picked up my sewing, and I guess now I'm trying to figure out how to embroider things, is because when I'm working on my knitting, I'm imagining in my head in a whole outfit that I would wear it with, and what I'm realizing is that I'm knitting the pieces, but I don't actually have the other parts of the outfit that's tying it all together the way that I would like. So I'm trying to round that out. And so while I'm rounding it out, my knitting's kind of been sitting to the side for a little bit. And now, since today is the last day of school and it's going to be summer, I'm not sure what knitting is really going to look like. I'll still knit, but we have a trip to California to be with family planned for the middle of June. And then we've got 2 kids' birthdays in July, a birthday in August, and then the start of school. We'll just see how it goes. I'm just going slow. I'm kind of just riding the wave right now. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, I'm gonna let William say hi. He's covered in a breakfast bar and Cheerios, so he's messy, and that's okay. But I'm gonna pull you this way, Bubby. He just turned 1. Can you believe that? He's already 1. I believe it. Can you say hi? Yes, he's a jolly guy. He is jolly and he is sweet and he likes to eat. So can you tell them bye? Say bye-bye.
Hi.
Yeah, bye-bye. Good job.